Yo, I design clothes for a living. With our brand Essentials, we make millions every single launch, and that's for a reason. See, I am meticulous when it comes to quality because I want to provide long-lasting basics, essentials that you can use forever, and that's mainly because that's what I'm looking for out of the industry. That being said, I've worked with so many manufacturers, so many factories, so many mills, so many fabric houses that I've been introduced to almost every way you can think of how brands cut corners to increase profit margins. Today, I'm gonna expose all that for you, so when you go out shopping and you see any of these signs, know that that's probably a cheaply made garment, even if the brand is high-end. Number one, and the easiest way to see if your garment's cheap is to see light through it. See, if you have a garment and you put it up to the light and you can see a lot of light seeping through, that's a thinly woven garment. Most manufacturers do this to weave less yarn, thus making the product cheaper to produce and increasing their profit margins. A heavy, tight-knit fabric will be much more expensive to produce. It uses more supplies and will last you longer and wear out at a slower pace. Number two, check the GSM. See, unless you design clothing, a lot of that technical verbiage will go right over your head, given that GSM is basically grams per square meter. In other words, this is how they weigh your fabric. Let me give you a great example. Entry-level hoodies, like the stuff that you would pay maybe 30 bucks off of H&M for, that stuff is about 200 to 250 GSM. A Balenciaga hoodie or a Fear of God hoodie, you could be looking around 350 GSM. It's a lot thicker, a lot weightier. Those go for around 700 bucks. Given that they're thicker, they're gonna last longer, keep you warmer, and it gives you that nice bulky, rounded, overweight silhouette that everybody's looking for. In short terms, the heavier the garment is, the more expensive it is to produce, the more dense it is, and the longer it's gonna last you. So what we did for Essentials, for this coming collection that's dropping August 28th, is I can't even explain to you how hard this was. We were outsourcing the heaviest fabric we can find at the most comfortable feel. And we found a 480 GSM fabric. It's the one that I'm wearing right now. And I'm telling you boys, this is going to be the best collection we have ever done. And honestly, I want you to buy at least one piece and compare it to any designer brand you can think of, because I promise you, our stuff is gonna feel, look, and last longer than any $1,000 piece from a designer house. And I called it the heavyweight collection, where the entire collection, 7 new pieces, will be made out of one single fabric, which is this heavyweight 480 GSM fabric. When you weave fabrics this thick, you end up with something called a loop back texture in the inside. It almost looks like a rough towel, like a sandpaper / towel. It's very rough inside. So we went an extra step and did a brushing technique on the inside of the entire fabric, which creates this fuzz or a fleecing effect. So now, not only do you get that awesome look on the outside, on the inside, you have basically a blanket, like a legit blanket. So when you wear this, it's gonna be the most comfortable heavyweight pieces you have ever worn. And I'm telling you, this entire collection, it's probably the sickest we've ever done, where any piece you buy, since the color palette's so sick, is just interchangeable. Boys, August 28th, you're not gonna wanna miss this. Number 3, do the scrunch test. See, a quality made fabric will have resilience. It'll keep its composure. Cheaply made fabrics basically crumble like paper, like legit cardboard. So when you're considering of buying a piece, I want you to grab that piece and crumble into a ball and then let it go. If you see minimal wrinkles, that means it's probably a premium natural fabric that's gonna last a long time. If you see a lot of wrinkles, just put it back. Number 4, look at the buttons and the buttonholes. See, the buttons on quality made pieces will either be mother of pearl buttons or horn buttons. If they're plastic, they probably cheapen down on the entire process. Another area you can look is at the buttonholes themselves. See, the buttonholes have a sewing layer around the buttonhole itself. If you see that sew basically all over the place, all messy with yarn starting to peel and pull out, again, chances are they cheapened on the entire process. Versus if you see that buttonhole tightly woven and evenly woven, chances are that garment is gonna last you longer. Number 5, pull the garment. See, you're gonna wanna pull the garment 2 ways. 1, I want you to just stretch it out and let go. Again, if you have that resilient fabric that keeps its composure, it'll basically just bounce back to its original shape and you'll be good to go. That's a quality piece. But if you stretch it out and then it stays stretched out or deformed, you know that's a cheap garment you should just put back, because after one wash, it's probably not gonna fit anything like the first time you wore it. Another pull test you can do is at the seams. Grab any pant or shirt, look for a seam, and then pull at the seams. If you see light seeping through the seams, that means the seams aren't tightly woven, and anytime you pull on that seam or after a few wears, chances are it's gonna pop. And finally, number 6, pay attention to price. See, the old adage of you pay what you get for holds a lot of truth. Sometimes you need to pay a little bit more than your basic H&M piece, knowing that that piece is gonna last you 10 times longer, versus that cheap piece will deteriorate and you're gonna have to replace it 10 times in your life. See, sometimes spending just a little bit more is enough for you to have a quality piece that you'll never have to repurchase, versus though, there is an extreme to this. Some name brands do just price gauge you and charge you a 700x markup just because of the brand logo, so you're gonna wanna be aware of that as well. And that's basically it for this week's video, guys. Those are 6 ways to tell if that garment you're trying to buy is cheap or expensive. That's it from me today. See you next time.